Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Michelle here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Mitchell, and he's selling his display advertising business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Mitchell. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm glad to have you here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of it. It's a display advertising business in the hobbies, art, and lifestyle niches created in February 2019. The average monthly revenue for the business is $4,980, and it makes an average of $4,696 per month in net profit. For anyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55887 to learn more about the business, or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, let's see what's included. We have a domain with site and content files, an email list with 2,100 subscribers, social media accounts for Pinterest, WeHeartIt, Tumblr, Instagram, and Facebook, printable files and assets, Pinterest templates, and 6 months worth of unpublished content if posting 3 times per week. So Mitchell, now let's hear from you. What can you tell us about your background in building and running online businesses?
So back in 2014, maybe 2015, I started selling drone accessories and electronic parts on Amazon. And that's kind of what got me started doing things online, starting businesses online, selling things online. And I kind of transitioned into selling other things on Amazon, moving supplies, things like that, and was just looking for a way to promote my Amazon products by starting a website. So that's kind of how I got introduced, if you will, to building websites and things of that nature.
Okay, so how did you come up with the idea to start this particular website?
So similar to kind of what I said before, just trying to promote my Amazon products. And then I was trying to figure out how to get people to that site and kind of went down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out how to build a website and get people there, and found that Pinterest was a good way to do that. So I started this particular business because it's geared towards Pinterest and optimized for Pinterest. So that's kind of how I found it. Yeah.
Okay, so for people who aren't necessarily familiar, how does this business primarily make money?
So right now it's 100% from display advertising, and it's a premium ad network with AdThrive. And I don't do a lot of Amazon affiliate or Etsy affiliate. It's very little. So almost 100% is display advertising.
Okay. And so why did you choose to do display advertising instead of optimizing in a different monetization?
Yeah, I found it was the easiest way to monetize the type of traffic that I was getting to the site. Once I was set up on the ad network, I really didn't have to do anything maintenance-wise or other than just continue to grow the traffic. So it was an easy way to monetize the traffic. And since it's on a premium ad network, it pays well. So.
Okay. Well, looking over your numbers, it looks like your business is doing really well. So why are you interested in selling the business now instead of keeping it or growing it?
I've figured out, I like building and I like figuring out all the details, figuring out how to get people to your site, how to grow, following on Pinterest, how to optimize all the images, all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I've figured out all the details, and now it's just maintaining the traffic and all of the things that go along with it. I've kind of figured everything out. So I'm just looking to start something new and just focus on one thing.
All right. So you like the growing aspect of the business. So is there anything you learned from this particular business that you will apply to future sites?
Yeah. So a lot of the things that I think set my site apart is just how optimized it is for Pinterest, but Google as well. All of the posts have a keyword specific that I picked out and researched that do well both on Pinterest and on Google. And all of the images have been optimized for Pinterest, that they all have the description for Pinterest, everything like that. So really tailoring towards the traffic source that I'm going after, and then also backing that up with focusing on Google in the long run as well.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that you have a really solid Pinterest following. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 290,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's incredible. Is there anything that you tried with this business that didn't work?
I would say I started 5 or 6 sites trying to do a similar thing, but in different niches, if you will. Started a site about guns and knives and Jeeps and things like that, but found it wasn't as easy to monetize with display advertising or things of that nature. So I started a couple different sites like that. And I kind of figured out that if I'm going to use Pinterest as a primary traffic source, I should just choose niches, or a niche that is popular on Pinterest, does well on Pinterest.
Okay. You mentioned that Google and Pinterest are your main sources of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And so what do you currently do in terms of marketing?
In terms of marketing, I keep it pretty simple, unless, I know if you look at the Pinterest account, it looks pretty complex, but I use a Pinterest scheduler to schedule all the posts, and each post gets 3 graphic pins, if you will, and they're all set up with a template, so I just change out the colors and the text. So if you see one of my pins, it's from the account. It's all, try to keep it all cohesive, if you will. So I share everything to Pinterest and then just keep putting out posts. And I find that eventually it'll either get picked up by Pinterest and that'll start bringing in the traffic to the post, or it'll start ranking in Google and vice versa. They kind of play off of each other. So they work well together.
Okay. So you primarily then use Pinterest to rank in Google as well.
Correct. Yeah, that's a very good way to put it.
Okay. You're interested in selling right now, but if you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
I would add Amazon affiliate links and Etsy affiliate links to begin with. That would kind of be the day one route to go, I believe, because you could monetize the existing traffic. You wouldn't have to grow the traffic to grow the overall revenue. I think that would be a great place to start, since maybe have a handful of posts that have affiliate links on them. So I think that would be a good way to start growing the revenue from the beginning.
Okay. And earlier you were talking about that part of the reason why you went with display advertising was because it didn't require a lot of maintenance on your part.
Correct.
But what are some of the other things that you do to maintain the site?
So I go back and update old posts. I create new graphics for the pins and reshare every once in a while. I go back and reshare old blog posts to Pinterest to keep the site going, if you will. And that's kind of about it.
All right. So for somebody who's not familiar with the niche or the business model, and possibly even using Pinterest to drive traffic, I'm particularly curious. And when you were saying that you repin things just to kind of get fresh eyes on it, is there kind of a time period where, a pin, it really isn't as effective anymore? Or how do you decide that?
That's a good question. So what I've found is I'll post brand new blog post that has 3 images on it. I share it to all of the specific boards that I want to share it to that are for that post. And then it kind of depends, but either 30 to 60 days later, I go back and then I make 3 more pins. And I find that second round of pins do even better than the first, because I guess for lack of better terms, Pinterest knows what that URL is about based on the initial 3 pins and what boards they got pinned to and things of that nature. So they have a little bit of background instead of a brand new URL. They don't really know what to do with it. So I like to flip-flop between, I guess for an easy way to put it, every 60 days I go back and forth between the original set and then the redo set of pins. And I think that keeps things fresh as far as Pinterest goes. And I'm not reposting the same images every 30 days. So it's a little bit safer that way to do it spaced out with 60 days and 2 different sets of pins.
Wow, that's really interesting. I would never have known that about the URLs being better the second time around. I guess it makes sense. It's a more mature URL than at that point. And yeah, okay. So what skills or requirements do you think that somebody needs to operate a business model like you've set up?
I've tried to keep things very simple as far as the main thing is the keyword research. I think it all starts with something that does well in Google. So I spend time researching keywords that would do well on Pinterest and that I could potentially rank for. So I look at what other sites are ranking for that particular keyword. And if I think that I could put up a better post or a similar post that would do as well. So I think keyword research is a big one. Basic Photoshop skills, or I use a program on Mac called Sketch to do all the pins. Just like the keyword research, I keep things simple. Everything has a template, so I just change out the colors and the text and all that. And the other is just basic formatting and editing inside of WordPress. So I think if someone wasn't familiar with that, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you know what's going on, it's very simple.
All right, that sounds good. So you've been doing this for a while. What do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
I think something to do with the Pinterest algorithm, or maybe how they change the way they do things, or potentially putting the account at risk somehow, just because the Pinterest account is a big factor, both for growing traffic via Pinterest and to help rank things in Google. So it's a main driver. So I think that would be the biggest risk, is Pinterest changing something or something happening to the Pinterest account.
All right. That makes complete sense. I know, with a lot of businesses that rely on this type of advertising, sometimes one little thing gets modified and all of a sudden you've got to play catch up. And I know that you had mentioned too earlier that you do spend time going back through and updating your material. And I'm sure that helping to repin things every once in a while probably helps with that as well.
Correct.
Just before we wrap up, I have a few final questions for you. Would you be willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yes, I would.
Okay. And how much support are you offering buyers?
The 30 days of Skype and email. I'm very open to the Skype. I think it would be very easy to communicate rather than the email going back and forth. So I think hopping on a Skype call and getting everything kind of knocked out, any questions or concerns that they have within the 30 days would be what I'm willing to do.
Great. And as you said, you've got a lot of things set up already with templates and whatnot. So and are you open to negotiating something like an earnout?
I would prefer an all cash offer or not an earnout, but I'm open to the possibility.
That's definitely fair. And my last question for you is, putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
I think at this point, everyone thinks that their site is the best and everything like that, but I truly believe that I've built a really quality site with the type of content that I put out. I believe that it is the best type of content in that specific niche, if you will. And everything has been optimized to the best of my abilities. And right now, I believe I'm not doing a great job as far as monetizing the site, since all I have is display ads on there. So I believe it's under monetized. I haven't sent out any emails promoting any of the digital assets or really pushed any of the affiliate links on the post and stuff like that. So one, I think it's under optimized. And two, I think it's a pretty simple business to operate and run once you get the kind of the basics down, if you will.
That's a great response. Is there anything else you'd like to share that we might not have gone over?
Nothing that I can think of right now. I'm sure I'll come up with something in 20 minutes or so.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Mitchell. It's been a pleasure to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 55887. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.